Hey TMFG community, Carlo Cansino here with John Iaconetti. In today's ASK TMFG episode, we'll be discussing managing debt. So if you do like our videos, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel, provide us with some feedback in the comment section, or just give us a like. In today's episode, we'll be discussing managing debt, different types of debt that you can have, strategies for paying it down, and many other things about debt. So, John, why don't you get us started?
Yeah, exactly. And why don't we get started with the types of debt that are out there that you're probably most familiar with. And I'll get started with credit cards because that's probably the first source of debt that most Canadians will get themselves into from the start. Consumer credit. So using a credit card, that's going to have a much higher interest rate typically. The second type of debt could just be just a general loan, whether it be secured to an asset or unsecured loan. That's where interest rates start to come down a little bit compared to consumer credit. And then finally, we have our mortgages. And mortgages obviously are going to be probably one of the bigger sources of debt you'll ever have in your lifetime. And interest rates, now it's going to be a hot topic, especially with everything going on, but typically on the lower side, but now have been creeping up at least in the past 12 months.
John, now that you've mentioned the types of debt you can have, I think we should categorize it: good debt and bad debt.
Yes.
So you started with what we would call bad debt, consumer debt, the credit cards. You are taking a short-term loan, purchasing a good or a service, and you have to pay that debt back, but the interest rate is incredibly high, and you don't have anything to show for it. Maybe you have some stuff at home, or you have some experiences, but there's no asset against it that is, making the purchase worthwhile.
And that's exactly where it takes us into the good debt, right? The good debt is when you are taking out this lump sum amount of money or borrowing this amount of money to put into an asset that we hope will be appreciating over time, right? And that's where the mortgages come into play, or typically real estate is going to be that source of good debt.
Right. So now that we've talked about good versus bad debt, what are some things you can do to try to pay down debt? And what should you be aiming for? Should you be paying down mortgages, secured line of credits first, or should you be paying down that consumer type debt?
And just like we talked about in past videos about budgeting, the first step is getting everything organized and understanding what debt you have, what is the interest rate that you're paying, and then coming up with the best plan of action. So to give you an example, if you're going to have a source of debt with a 30% interest rate and another source of debt with a 2% interest rate, sure, we can probably figure out which one we want to pay down first.
Well, I look at it this way. Where is your money going to help or do the best for you? Where is it going to work the hardest for you? If you had $10,000, you could either pay down a 30% credit card or invest it in put in your bank account that's earning 2%. Well, I think that $10,000 to pay down the 30% interest rate, that's where it's going to work the hardest for you.
Yeah, so that's the first strategy there, right? Identifying the highest rate of interest and focusing on paying that down as fast as possible, right? And it comes hand in hand once you understand, first of all, what debt you have, figure out the highest rate and attack that first and foremost. But what's another strategy that people can be using to bring their debt levels down?
Well, in dealing with many different types of clients and walking through their financial plan, we get an idea of the different liabilities that they have outstanding. And so some clients have had 3 and 4 credit cards and a line of credit here and a secured line of credit there. We want to be able to manage that debt and get it into a very simple way of paying it down. So if you are having issues paying down 2 or 3 credit cards, what we're suggesting is you consolidate. You're paying 30% on those credit cards. Why not consolidate them into one loan, a consolidation loan, pay them all off, rid yourself of those creditors, have one payment and pay it off, and not be tempted to be using that revolving credit.
Yeah, and it's always surprising to me when we have these conversations where, like you said, you'll end up having people with 3 credit cards and they've never had just a line of credit. A line of credit you might be able to get at 7-8% nowadays, and credit cards you're paying at 20%. So you can use that line of credit, pay off all your credit cards, and now have just that one source of debt, like you mentioned, that you're focusing on paying off at a much lower interest rate.
But you need to know yourself very well.
Yes.
If you're not disciplined, having a revolving line of credit to use over and over again may not be the best solution for you. So perhaps getting a loan that is definite will pay off. It'll be one balance, and you pay it off over whatever term it is, and it's done. So you really have to know yourself.
That's exactly right. And the last point, I guess, kind of goes hand in hand with that. And a lot of the times, we only have one stream of income, and people are often questioning investments or debt reduction. What should we be focusing on? And it goes back to that interest rate now. Because if the interest rate is going to be 20%, well, you would hope your investments can at least match that. Well, if interest rate is 20%, I would love to guarantee you we can get you a 20% rate of return, but that's just not going to be the case. So naturally, you want to put your money towards what's going to be better for you. Bring down to 20% interest or an investment that's getting you 5 to 6%. If the interest is higher than an investment return, maybe focus on that debt repayment for the time being.
If you do find yourself with questions about debt, when to take it on, when to get rid of some of that debt, speak to one of us, call your financial advisor at the McClelland Financial Group. Definitely be open to having that conversation with you. Or what about leave a comment in the video? Let us know what you're struggling with, what types of debt experiences you've had. Otherwise, that's our video for today. Again, as a reminder, if you do like our video or any of the other videos you've seen, subscribe to the YouTube channel, forward it to your friends. If they have questions about debt or anything else we've talked about, provide us with a comment. Again, I've asked for that, some feedback, or just give us a like. Yeah. Let us know you like what we're doing. Until next time, I'm Carlo Cansino.
I'm John Iaconetti.
And this has been ASK TMFG.